actually needs a 42-inch propane fireplace out on the patio. If you're sitting out there on a fall evening with a couple of friends, trying to decide between moving the couch closer to the house or hauling out a bunch of folding chairs, this might be the piece that changes the whole setup. On the flip side, if you're only firing it up twice a year and your budget is tight, you could end up paying for heat you never use. Before you click Add to Cart, let's talk about who this thing is really for, where it shines in everyday life, and the parts that might surprise you once it's in your yard. The link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Empire Outdoor Traditional 42-inch is basically a self-contained propane fireplace that sits on your patio like a piece of furniture. It's not a portable fire pit you drag out of the garage. It's a fixed appliance that hooks up to a standard 20 pounds propane tank or a larger bulk supply if you run it a lot. That means you're making a semi-permanent addition to your outdoor space, so you'll want to be sure you'll actually use it before you bolt it down. If you're the type who loves hosting weekend cookouts or just wants a warm spot to unwind after work without wrestling with firewood or smoke, this could be the missing piece. But if you're mostly looking for a seasonal accent that you can tuck away in a closet, this isn't that. One of the first things you'll notice when you set it up is how much heat it throws. The 42-inch firebox is big enough to keep a small group warm without roasting them like marshmallows. I've seen setups where people tried to use smaller fire pits and ended up piling on blankets or moving closer to the house halfway through the night. With this unit, you can actually sit around it in a semicircle without everyone complaining about the cold. That's the real-world difference between a 36-inch and a 42-inch. You get a wider, more even heat zone without crowding the flames. Where it gets interesting is the burner system. Empire uses a stainless steel burner that sits under a bed of decorative embers, so you're not looking at a raw blue flame that's hard on the eyes. The flame looks more like a traditional wood fire, which makes the whole setup feel cozier. That matters if you're trying to create a living room vibe on the patio instead of a campfire vibe. The burner is also adjustable, so you can dial it back when you're just hanging out and crank it up when you're actually trying to warm up a chilly evening. Now, the trade-offs start to show up once you dig into the installation. This isn't a plug-and-play appliance. You'll need a propane line, a regulator that's rated for outdoor use, and a shut-off valve within reach. If you're not comfortable running a gas line or you don't have a propane supplier nearby, the setup cost can jump quickly. I've talked to folks who assumed they could just swap tanks like a portable grill and ended up frustrated when they realized they needed a permanent hookup. If you're renting or you move often, this might not be the best long-term investment. Another thing that catches people off guard is the weight. This thing is heavy, over 200 pounds empty. That means you're not moving it around once it's in place. If you're the kind of person who likes to rearrange the patio furniture every season, you'll want to plan the location carefully. Once it's bolted down, it's staying put. On the plus side, the cabinet is powder-coated steel, so it's built to handle rain, snow, and the occasional splash from the hose. It's not going to rust out in a season, and the finish doesn't look like it's going to peel after a year. That's a real advantage over some of the cheaper fire pits that start to look rough after a few seasons. If you're tired of replacing rusted-out bowls every couple of years, this is a step up. The real value here is in the daily usability. If you're someone who actually uses the backyard more than twice a year, this becomes a focal point instead of an afterthought. You're not setting up chairs and a fire pit every time you want to sit outside, you're just walking out and turning it on. That convenience factor is what separates the appliances from the gadgets. So, who should buy it? If you host gatherings, you have a spot on the patio where you can run a gas line, and you're tired of dealing with smoke or wood, this is a solid choice. It's also great if you live in a climate where evenings get chilly but you don't want to run the central heating just for the backyard. The 42-inch size gives